Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Hope everybody's doing well. It's Sunday. I still ain't in the woods today. This morning would have been a good morning. It was about 47, 45, 47 in the woods. Overcast. It would have been a good morning to be out there. At least romantically it would have, I guess. Anyway, thought I'd make another video. I've got the transoceanic video is uploading right now, so I thought, well, I'm in the Zenith mood and I ain't got nothing else going on. I was going to take another look at this circle of sound radio, this little Zenith circle of sound radio. I honestly don't remember where I left off. So I guess we're going to look at it again and kind of look at reevaluate it. I know the clock doesn't work, so we might look into that. Seemed like I saw where there was a video on how to repair these things. But anyway, let's enough of my talking. Let me get back to it. Let's set you guys up on the tripod and let's check this thing out again. If I remember right, I think it had some low audio problems. I don't remember. We're gonna look at it again, see what it needs, and see if we can maybe, at the very least, get this thing going, or I guess, completely going. But I figure I'll probably have to order some caps. I don't know. Put you on the tripod and let's reevaluate it, see what this thing needs. Be right back. Okay. So I got you guys kind of in front where I'm looking at. Here's the radio. If I remember right, when we looked at this before, I think there was a resistor that was open. Yeah, there's an open resistor right there. It's killing the RF. So let's plug this thing in, see what it's doing. So I, honest to goodness, do not remember. We'll just put it in my variac. Calibrate it. Alright. I ain't worried about dim bulbing this thing.
The court was 5 or more professional stakeholders. Going out to one listener. And if you want that to be you, questions. Let's get started. See who's first.
Heading over. Got Lisa on the question about outlets. What's going on? Hi. We have an older home. It was built in 1960. And in some areas of the home,
Volume control seems to be alright. Tone control seems to work. Band switch seems to be okay. Tuning seems to be okay. Alright. So that's fine. We seem to have adequate audio. Let's check the FM side. Something gonna come in. Can't keep that up long. I get a copyright strike. Okay, well, it seems to receive okay. Volume's good. So, where's my chair? Hang on. Okay, so it receives, and volume's good and all that. So I guess that part was all right. I was thinking there were some capacitors I needed to check, but hell, it sounds okay. I'm not going to mess with it if it ain't broke. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 electrolytics in it. I'm really tempted to pull one out and test it, but honestly, it just don't look like something I want to do just willy-nilly. If it ain't broke, I'm not going to fix it. So I guess we need to see what's up with this clock. So let's see. It looks like film strip to me, like film material. Here's the motor for it right here. If the motor wasn't running, that'd be a very good reason for the clock not to work, right? I can't see in there. It looks like a fairly elaborate mechanism. Trying to see where the clock motor enters. There it is. Yeah, if the clock ain't gonna work, the motor don't work. The motor's not turning, so I guess that's a good reason. It's a 115 volt motor. Let's see if I can possibly measure to make sure that the motor's getting AC voltage. I mean, it's possible it's not. If I can do this without blowing it up. Not sure my voltmeter is working. Must be at 121. Trying to measure this stupid voltage on this motor here. Got these needlepoint probes here. I should be touching something. I'm not seeing nothing, but that's not totally. Bare spot there. Did I do that? Something looks funny about this. Something looked funny about this. I don't remember all this black tape that's supposed to be on this stuff. It don't look factory. Somebody been in here? Don't look factory to me. Look at there. What the devil? I didn't do this. The blue wire cut right there. Feeding the motor. I didn't do that. Promise I didn't. Let me get a small clip lead and a pair of pliers and jumper that. Let's see what happens. Really don't know why somebody would have done that. That was not me. I mean, I've done a lot of crazy stuff before. Surely that wasn't me. Now, what was I smoking? I don't think I would have done that. I have myself psychoanalyzed. I'm old and forgetful, but I don't think I would have done that. That's not my modus operandi. Like I'd been in another shop at one time. Here we go. Well, seconds work, as you can see, or may not see. The second hand works. Let's do 10-10. Let's see if it increments. I have no idea. Maybe I'll look out and the clock actually works. Wouldn't that be a miracle? Clean this thing up. So we're at the 45-second mark. 45, coming up on the 50-second mark. And we're coming up on the 55-second mark. So in 5 seconds it should change to 10-11. And it did not. So the time will increment with this set mark right here. I mean this set control knob right here. But it will not increment with this. So what have we got? A bad gear? Okay, it's coming back up on 20 seconds to top of the minute. 45 seconds now. Let's give it one more shot. Coming up on 55 seconds. Coming up on top of the minute. It should have incremented. But as you can see, this works. That works. Let's see if it'll advance to the hour here. Yes, it does. So something's in between here and here not working. Has somebody been in here before me dicking around with it? Alrighty. So how does this clock come out? It's like Phillips head, Phillips head, Phillips head, Phillips head. So let me get a Phillips head screwdriver. We'll see what we can do. So, in the tradition of whoever was before me, somebody was, I'm just going to go ahead and clip it right here. And it's free to roam about the building. Let me see if we can get this clock out. I can tell you right now, folks, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not a clocksmith. Even though I do watch a few YouTube videos about people working on wristwatches and stuff like that, which is fascinating. I don't see how they keep track of all that kind of little bitty things. I am not a clock guru. I've torn up way more than I prepared. See if that's what I need. Yep. Alright, so the clock is free. Let's get the radio out of the way. I think it's fine. So, I'm just trying to figure out how I can manage this thing without tearing it up. I'm getting pretty good at tearing up stuff. Let's pull this off so we can see the gear systems in here. I have a feeling it's like a cog that goes through there, and it when it gets to the top of the minute, it engages a cog and it advances 1 minute. I want to get my glasses. I'm going to step in front of you guys. Get my glasses. Take my cap off. Let's have a look. Let's see, telephoto in a little bit. I'm going to drop you down a little bit while I might get in y'all's way. As I've turned this gear, this knob right here, you'll see this gear here turn right there. So I know the movement is getting from here to here, and I can see another gear right here down up inside there. You can see it right there. That one turned. You see it turning? So I know it's getting there, which means I know it's getting to this next gear. Right there, tip of my fingernail. See it turn? So we know it's getting there. I see that gear turning, but there's another gear that's inside it that I don't see turning. It's like where the buck stops is that one gear right there. Is that some special kind of gear maybe? Don't know. Like I said, I'm not a clock guru. Now it's possible that gear is some kind of a ratcheting type gear. Could be it just needs a good oiling. Who knows? I do know from watching all these wristwatch repair channels that you don't just go in there willy-nilly squirting oil everywhere. I want to look closer. It's hard for me to video this, and you guys can't see this, but if the second hand is moving, almost looks like a clutch. But the second hand is moving, it's turning a larger gear. Well, let's see, the motor output is turning a larger gear, which is turning the second hand. which means there should be a cog in here somewhere. There has to be something on this wheel that's turning, the second hand wheel, that engages another gear or something to advance it. I don't know. It's got two of these on there, little bitty. I don't know what that is. It might be illumination, perhaps. I don't know. Instead of wasting y'all's time with me rambling on, I'm going to investigate this a little further and see if I can get a little closer into it, see if I can figure out a little bit more how this thing works. I'll bring you back. Something worth reporting. Alright. Going in all the way here. Go down this rabbit hole. Got the motor. Motor seems to be intact. So I got the motor out of the way. Now I can spin the second hand, if you will, or the hand dial. I can spin it, but I can tell somebody's been in here. What I'm about to do is take these 4 screws off right here, or actually, yeah, 3 screws, I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to pull these 3 off so I can get a better look at this mechanism. Something's missing or broke on this thing. I'm fairly sure of it. So I'm going to take this plate off very carefully. Hopefully stuff don't go flying. Of course, I'm just looking at this right here. I'm going to have to pull that loose. So wish me luck. I'll bring you back. I don't need y'all seeing this thing blow up. Okay. Little time has elapsed. Don't know if I found the problem, but at least I figured out a little bit more how this thing works. Mine. Oh, there we go. Anyway, I'm putting it back together now. It's this is not something you don't want to do unless you just really got a death wish. But anyway, this thing is super plasticky. Yeah, I said plasticky. Be very careful. It's very old. It's very fragile. But I had to. This lever arm right here, this little section, this lever arm right here, this little section was broke right there at the tip. Just a little sliver. Super glue would not touch that. I wound up having to use my soldering iron and plastic weld it. Seems to be okay for the moment. And then this arm right here, this mount screw hole, I got a holder, whatever. The plastic was broke down and it, super glue did hold it, at least it did for the moment. So I'm in the process now of putting the 3 screws back in. I got 1 in. But for people that don't do this a lot and looking for me for advice, these little old plastic holes right here and these little screws, don't just throw a screw in there and start screwing. What you want to do is you want to put your screw in like so. Yeah, we got the shaky cam going on today. And then when you want to get your screwdriver, got to use your feeling. If you don't have feeling in your hand, don't do this. But turn your screw backwards. You'll feel it bump. When you feel it bump, turn it in. Now, see how I'm doing the screwdriver? Very delicately with my 2 fingers. You turn it backwards, you feel that little bump. That means it's found its thread. Uh-oh, it just broke. So what I was afraid of. What happened was that a little bit of glue got down in those threads. That's all she wrote. Oh well. I figured that was going to happen, but let's see if we can do the other one. No way I could get around that. I have not found a super glue applicator or method that works good. This damn super glue is so viscous. I need the gel. That's what I need. You can control the gels. Anyway, let's do this one. Turning it backwards till I feel it bump. There it went. It bumped. Use 2 fingers again to control your torque. You ain't got to tighten this like a water pipe. Just snug it. That one is right there. I'm going to plastic weld it, and but before I do anything, I'm going to plug this thing back up and see if I've made a difference. And I'll tell you what I did if this works. So I'll bring you back in just a second. I'm going to put you in the tripod. Alright, I think I got you set up. Alright, let's see. You can see the front of the face. You should be able to see the second hand. Let's hook our power leads back up to the motor. Where's the motor? I have not put the motor back in. Well, hell. Be right back. Alright, real quick. Right here, this is where I had to, where you at? Right there. There's the screw. This is where the bond was, and a little bit of super glue got inside those threads and it made it tough, and I over torqued that screw. So excuse me, basically what I had to do is I just used my soldering iron to plastic weld that a little bit, and like it's trying to break right there. Excuse me. So I just held on to it with a pair of needle nose, little skinny needle nose right there. Held on to it, screwed this in, screwed that screw in until it's seated, and that screw was actually longer than the brake. So now it is secure. Unfortunately, when you're dealing with this old brittle plastic, that's the kind of stuff you run into. So now I'm going to put the motor back on, and as soon as I get the motor in, I'll bring you right back. That was fun. That was something fun to do too, taking that motor out. So hopefully I don't break anything else putting the motor in. I'll be right back. Wow, putting that motor on was kind of like doing the old distributor caps. How you push them little snap pins in. That's what that reminded me of. Okay, motor is in. I don't think I broke anything. So turn you around so you can see it's at 2:03 and at 10:11 seconds. Let's see if it even works. Here we go. Yeah, at least the seconds turn. Seconds dial turns, I guess that's what it is. 20 seconds. 22 and a half. Coming up on 25 seconds. Alright, coming up on 30 seconds. Alright, coming up on 35 seconds. Alright, coming up on 40 seconds, 20 seconds to go. Hopefully this works. 45 seconds. 50 seconds. 55 seconds. No go. Give one more round. "25 seconds. There's like a little Geneva mechanism in here. That this wheel here, there's a little half moon in here. 55 seconds. No go there, Joe. Put a little bias on there. Thank goodness I'm on an isolated transformer. I would have just got the heck knocked out of me. Hot side here was touching this frame. To go any further with this, I'm going to have to break some plastic welds. I don't really want to do that. Okay, here we go. I put a little bias on the star wheel for Geneva movement. Didn't help. Be right back. Alright, I'm still working on this stupid clock on this daggum little Zenith tabletop radio. What is that? A circle of sound? That stupid clock. The clock, what advances the minute hand is, you know, minute hand, it turns, get 1 minute on it, it turns. Let's see, 1 second turns the minute, the 1 minute turns a 10 minute, and the 10 minute turns 1 hour, okay? Something like that. Anyway, this is a Geneva movement. If you're not sure what a Geneva movement is, Google it. But 35mm movie projectors use those. And what it does is, you know, on a movie projector, you know, when the Geneva movement pulls a frame of film down, it pulls it down exactly 1 frame and locks it there. The way the Geneva movement is made, it cannot move. If you take that projector with it off, of course, and you grab that Geneva movement sprocket, it will not turn at all. But in operation, it's moving 24 frames a second. And if you look at it, you'll see it's got it looks like it's 2 screw, the screw heads are like this on the screw that holds the socket in, but that's what it's doing. It's 1 position, 2 position, 3 position, 4, and it locks it in. Well, this is a Geneva movement, and I'll show you. That little dude right there is a Geneva movement. It's the same principle, and I've been dicking with this for an hour. You have a cam inside here, right there, if you can see it. Yeah, right there. That's part of it. This is the other part. This goes onto that. These two little circles, semicircles, they go on top of one another. But it's taken me an hour to figure out something's missing. Let's look another close look at this. Here is, see that slot? That snot, yeah. That snot is not there, that slot is not there just because it wants to be. I've done projectors my whole life, and it took me a minute to look back at this. Look at this closely. Look at that closely, if you can. Here's the slot, but you notice something? You notice something very peculiar? Like, there's this little dot right here, a dot looking thing, and it just happens to coincide. It's right in the middle of that slot. It took me an hour to realize what's wrong. Can y'all figure it out? There's a peg there. That peg is actually what moves the movement. The circles, or semicircles, is what holds it in place. It took me an hour to realize that. And I thought I knew what the hell I was talking about, Geneva movements. But coming back over here, that peg interfaces with this slot right here. The peg is what does the turning. It took me an hour to finally dawn on my thick skull. How to fix it? That's the question. The fix is going to have to be on here. So what I'm thinking about doing, and I got to look through my stuff. Super gluing a peg on here is not going to fix this. I got to look in my junk box, see if I can find something about that diameter. And what I'm probably going to do is drill a hole the exact size of this peg. Push this peg through from whatever I find, push it through, and then use epoxy and epoxy the crap out of it in the back. On the back side, I got plenty of room on the back side in here to do something like that, even like a screw. So that's where I'm at. I got to find something the right diameter to go in there. Drill that hole out exactly in center. If I don't have it in center, it's not going to work. So that's where I'm at. That's what's wrong with it. The little peg in the Geneva movement, the clock movement, broke. That's why the clock ain't working. Took me an hour to realize that. At least I realized it. Now the fix is going to be the fun. So here I go down that rabbit hole. I'll bring you back when I get it tore up. I mean fixed or whatever. Bye. Hey everybody. Alright, on the, I've come up with a solution, I think, for the Geneva wheel on the little Zenith Clock Radio. Once I figured out the peg was missing, I fixed it, I think. How long it holds, who knows. But basically, what I've done is the diameter of the peg needed to be about 0.065 to about 0.072 millimeters. Fairly small. Didn't need to be exact, just needed to be small to give it a little wiggle room, because this particular Geneva device is not a particular exact thing like a projector movement is. Projector has almost zero tolerance. This, it's plastic. Made in Korea, who cares, right? So I just found something that would fit in there to make it move. And I'll show you what I did. Hang on, going for a ride. Anyway, a lot of you people out there knows, first off, that you need one of these junk boxes. If you can see in there, tons of parts, little screws, pieces and parts, shafts. Anyway, I found something right there. This little screw, this little brass looking screw, measured about 0.06 millimeters. Perfect size. It had a shank on it, and then the threads, and then get up here. Had a little hex head on it right there. So I took my Dremel, drilled just the right size hole where this thing had to be pushed in. Pushed this thing in, used my soldering iron to embed the head of that screw into the plastic just a little bit for mechanical strength, and then come back in with some epoxy. So now I have epoxy on this thing setting. Once this thing cures and sets, I'm going to figure out how much length I need on this, cut it to length, hopefully won't damage it, and put it back in, and this thing should work. So I can't do nothing else with it right now until the epoxy's set. So I guess I'm going to move on to something else, wait on that to set. Might see if I can figure out what's up with these knobs. Knobs are kind of green. I'm going to get the Dremel a hold of them and see how they do. So anyway, that's where I'm at on the clock radio. Should work after I get that done, hopefully. So I'll bring you back when all that's done. Okay guys, got the repair done, and get a little light on it. Let's see, here we go. Got the repair done. The peg is in the right place. The epoxy's not quite cured, but I think it's got enough strength to do the job. I've actually trimmed it down. If you can see it there on the top of it, I trimmed it down. I've tested it. It seems to work. So I'm going to put this thing back together, and it should work. So bring you back. Alright guys, after a lot of wrestling, yeah, I said wrestling. After a lot of wrestling, a little bit of cussing, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, I think I'm ready to test. I've got it all assembled. At least I think I got it assembled. Let's fire it up. Here we go. The second hand dial is moving. We're at 30 seconds. We're at 256. We're at 35 seconds. Guess you can see it. 256. We're at 45 seconds. Thing might just blow up. 50 seconds. It might freeze. Something might not be in alignment. 55 seconds. We've got 5 seconds to know if we failed or not, or I failed. That's pretty good. It moved. Where's the front of this stupid thing at? There we go. 305. $50 seconds, so we're at 10 seconds to go. This is the front. There's a little decreased mark in speed there. Or is it just my imagination? Alright, 50. 1,000, 1,000, 2, 1,000. I wonder if it's keeping time properly. Let's bring up the stopwatch. Soon as the 0 gets here. That's on 15, so far so good. Won't know how accurate this is until you actually run the thing for a while. It's at 30 seconds now. Coming up on 40 seconds. Okay, that's okay so far. 50 seconds. Okay, I'm good with that. Should be changing to 309 any second now. Well, I think it's okay. Yeah, I think it's fine. Let's see. It is, see here. It is actually $2.12 in the afternoon. I guess this thing sets backward, does it? No. We'll stop it at 7:58. I want to see if it'll advance to the next hour. Considering the problem with this and what it would actually take to get it more precise, I'm thinking it's doing pretty good. You can't go any further in this plate here because that's all plastic welded together, and once you break that, you really just don't want to do that. I don't want to do it. Y'all can, but I'm not. Alright, we got 15 seconds to go before it changes to the hour. I want to see it change to the hour. I want to see how it behaves. Then I want to set it for the exact time that we actually are. Let's see, here we go. Changing 59. And we went to 8 o'clock. There you go. Good. So what I want to do next, before I do much else, I'm kind of like that. I'm going to get this thing to the time that we are actually at. I want to come back to it a few hours later and see how it does. And see how it holds up. So I'll bring y'all back. Alright, now I've got it set for the exact time. It's at 2:16 p.m. So now that we've got that done, I'm going to lay it over on its where it should be, how it's supposed to be mounted, you know, in other words, horizontal, and we'll run it for a few hours and I'll come back to it and see if it stayed. So then we'll go from there. I will say that I did some cleanup on the case. Did some cleanup on the case. Let me widen y'all out a little bit. Cleaned it up best I could. It is plastic simulated wood grain. It's got some stains on it. I had to repair the snooze button. It had a calendar on the side here and it just obliterated the wood grain. So trying to decide. It's been beat up pretty good. The front turned out pretty good. Let's see what else. The knobs are actually pitted, has some patina on them. They're plastic, of course, chrome plated. I cleaned them the best I could. They were really green. I think I'm going to leave them be. They're not perfect, but they're better looking than they were. The only other thing I don't remember seeing is the AM FM band switch lights on the dial, on the tuner dial. I don't think those bulbs are working. I didn't think about that till a while ago when I was looking at it. I'm gonna see if I can find some bulbs, and I'll probably put some bulbs in it. Be nice to see, you know, what band you're on, and you know, at night. So I think a lot closer than we were this morning. So anyway, we're gonna let it clock run for a while, and probably won't get back to this till tomorrow. So I'll talk to y'all later. Alright, continuing on with the repairs of this little clock motor mechanism, clock mechanism, out of this little circle of sound Zenith tabletop radio. The clock backlight, not batlight, backlight. Anyway, the clock backlight is bad, broke. It is buried inside the mechanism. I cannot get to it. Cannot get the old one out, which means I can't force another one in. So this is what I got. I was able to pull the wires out, but there was nothing there. When I pulled on the wires, nothing happened. It was just like there was nothing connected to it. The wires are rotted off. I don't know where the bulb is. It may not be in there, but I don't know. I don't know what this bulb was. It was tied to the coil off the you know, tapped onto the motor. I'm reading 5 volts coming off the motor, so I don't know. Had to be an incandescent bulb. Had to be an incandescent bulb. So I'm reading 5 volts. I was thinking I'd get 70 or something like that, but it's reading 5 volts coming out of the off of this transformer. So it's going to be pretty tough to change that bulb. I don't know if I'm going to do it or not. May not have a bulb. It's going to be a tough job. It was tough just getting these out. Can't get the mechanism apart. I mean, you can, you'll never get it back together. You tear it up. Hang on. So anyway, that's that. Alright, been several days since I last worked on this little clock radio, this little Zenith Clock Radio. Everything works on it except the alarm function works, but it's not proper. However, I worked on this thing for 2 hours and I'm tired of messing with it. It's about 30 minutes off for this alarm, and what happened is there's a shaft going in between one side and the other with a gear. That gear is timed to the clock. However, every time you pull it apart, things change. I have not been able to make it stable. I did several trial and errors, but every time you take that thing apart, take a risk of damaging something. And sure enough, the last time I put a screw in it, I heard this little pop. A piece of plastic broke. I'm not taking it apart again. The clock works. It's what I wanted it to do. I'll never use the alarm function on this. I doubt anybody does. I hate to say it. Yeah, I could go further, but this thing is so brittle and I'm not messing with it no more. The clock does its function, and 99% of the time nobody uses the alarm on these things anymore. So I'm doing a command decision right here, an executive decision to not mess with it anymore. I'm about to put the motor back in to verify that it still works. I'm going to plastic weld the piece that broke, and I'm going to put it back together, put it back in the radio, recheck everything, and leave it alone. If I go any further, I'm going to break something irreversibly. Anyway, let me get this thing back together and we'll take another look at it and we'll go from there. Be right back. Okay, I got the clock back together, the clock motor mechanism back together. Seems to be working fine. The 1 minute section of the mechanism that quite line up properly, but I believe it's because of that Geneva movement. It's got a little bit of wear in it and a little bit of slack. However, it does keep time. I had it set at 7:10. It's now 7:13. I think it's fine. I'm about to put it back in the radio and get it all back together, and let's see how this thing works. I've got a couple of lights that I think might be out in the band switch. I don't have any of those bulbs right now. I'll have to figure out what they are. I don't want to put LEDs in there. I hate that. People use them blue LEDs and I hate the looks of those things. This thing, our grain of wheats. Matter of fact, let's move this out of the way. Move that out of the way. Let's grab the radio. Don't look at me, my God. Alright, let's telephoto in just a little bit. Oh, here we go. This is the, there's a bulb and a bulb. I think they're not working. Looks like it's they both come on at the same time. I thought one was for, apparently lights the whole dial up. I don't think they're working. Let's take a quick look. Alright, let's see. There we go. Let me get a clip lead. I gotta jump the power leads here. Hang on, that's the second one. Bumped y'all a couple of times, didn't I? Come on now. Alright, hopefully I got this hooked up right. If not, it's gonna go boom. Oh look, they're working. One is. Other one ain't. Yep, one of them's working, the other one ain't. Okay. Well, good. It's halfway working. Not like anything I ever fixed. Always halfway works. Here you go. Let's figure out what kind of voltage those bulbs are. We'll put this on volts. AC, I'm thinking, what are y'all thinking? See, voltage tap off the transformer right here. I'm showing about 5.5 volts. So these are probably 6.3 volt bulbs, I would imagine. So I think I'm going to finalize the radio, put it back together. And I'll order the bulbs, put it in at a later date. But I think I think this thing is good enough for what it is. So clock seems to be working. It's at 7:18 now. So I'm going to put everything back together. Make sure it works, and probably call it done. And like I say, I'll get the bulb one day and order it and put it in there. No big deal. I'm going to take this to the camp, I think, put it at the camp, use it for a camp radio, so I'm probably fine with just one bulb. It'll illuminate good enough. Yes, I'm not completely, if this was for a customer or somebody that's paying me, yes, I would completely do this and ask him if he wanted the alarm function, and if he wanted it, I would work on it, but he would have to know what I already said, that it is extremely brittle, and every time you take it apart, you risk damaging something. So I'm not going to go any further. So anyway, I'll bring you back when I get it back together, unless something breaks. Okay. This has probably been about an hour since the last segment. This was a pain in the ass. Excuse my French. Plastic. I'm not messing with this anymore in the clock. Couple of things. The big thing is, once I put the case on, I realized that when I turned it on, it went off, and when I turned it off, it went on. Come to find out, there's a little cam, nylon cam. There's a little half gear on the left hand side where the on off auto radio alarm is. There's a half cam there. It has a shaft that goes to the right side of the clock, and then another little cam there that actuates the switch. That cam was split, and it had shifted its position. So I had to move it until I found the right spot. Tried to add a little drop of glue in there. So it is good as it's going to get as far as the clock. If it quits, it quits. I'm not opening that clock up again. It is that bad. Anyway, clock is running, and let me show you. Alright, let's see. The clock itself needs a backlight. I can't get to it. I was able to get the wires out, but the bulb is stuck in there, and to get it out I would have to take the whole thing apart. No, that's not happening. So I just pulled the leads off. It's tied onto a little small winding on the output of the clock motor. I used heat shrink to secure the leads, keep them safe from shorting out. 7:35. So the clock is done. Let's see. On, off. Alarm does work if I tell it, but it's just not quite accurate. Again, dealing with it, taking it apart, changing the cam timing. No. That last little piece of plastic broke on the motor mount. No, not fooling with that anymore. It's not that important to me.
This week's code was 4612.
Anyway, there you go. Here it sounds.
$100 in the B&E wholesale cash code. And that means we'll have a new amount and a new cash code coming up on Monday. And once again, a big, huge thank you to B&E Wholesale at 100 Trenton Street in West Monroe, providing all the money. We have such a good time doing this with them. And you really need to check out during your Christmas shopping because they have got to
make sure we're ready for them. We have Queen and full-size hybrid Mac.
Kids Toy Drive and Radio.
I really don't deserve so much more.
I was on stuff. Somebody who will service you is Dino Hardwoods. I'm telling you, don't forget Dino Hardwoods. DinoHardwoods.com. DinoHardwoods.com. Great locations. They can service you. They can deliver. Dino.
Now, let me go gorilla mode here real quick. This is the radio as it stands. It has a simulated walnut green cover, plastic of course. It is very abused. It really, I don't know any way I can clean it, but it's still going to look like crap. It's had all kinds of stuff. It's got some stories to tell, I bet. This is the side. It's very war-torn. Had a little calendar stuck on the side there. When it came off, it took that little paint off. So I'm leaving it like that. Like I've said in other videos, all these radios like this have got stories to tell. I thought about sanding this down, painting it maybe camo to match, because it is going to be a camp radio, to match, you know, camp radio, you know, camo. Then I said I'd leave it alone. This old girl's got some stories to tell. I wish it would tell me. But the clock works, the radio works, all functions work except for the alarm. I'm going to call this radio good. So, not much of a video. It's going to be long. I'll have to edit the heck out of it. Pain in the butt, that clock mechanism. Like I said, I'm not a clock repairman. I don't have the nerves or the patience for that stuff anymore, but it is done. So, you know, hopefully this sparked your interest in it or made you go to sleep, you know, whichever comes first. Appreciate some likes and comments, positive. If you're gonna do negative, that's fine, you know, just don't get ugly. But I thank you guys for watching and staying with me this long. So, finally got that one radio finished, other than the pilot lamp in the on the dial scale. I'll do that later on. It's not that important to me. Anyway, it's going to the count. So it's done. I can scratch one off the list. Thank you guys for watching. God bless. Like and share, please. Not like and share. Like and comment. And you know, haven't subscribed, please subscribe, because I could use all the subscribers I can get. But thank you for watching again, and have a great day, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.